Poised to be on this call with your teammates and success partners. I'm going to start this evening, as we do all our calls, by sharing our signature message. We all are part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million new families and small businesses with Legal Shield's network of law firms and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we are looking for help. It's important for all of us to memorize and personalize this so we can use bits and pieces of it in conversation when it is appropriate. And now it is my honor and privilege of introducing our first speaker. He's a pro on the tennis court and in small business. He's a successful Legal Shield associate, earned his $150,000 ring on his way up. He's protected and empowered literally thousands of individuals. And folks, he's been in Performance Club every single month since he began in Legal Shield. I believe it's 13 years ago. And I give you now Mr. Timmer Halligan. The call is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Lee. Timmer Halligan here in Chicago, Illinois, and just starting my 15th year. I started in 2004 with Legal Shield, and I'm more excited than I've ever been before, and excited for the way technology brings us closer together. I love these Zoom meetings that we've got every single Wednesday evening, so we get a chance to get a little more high tech, but also be able to keep high touch. And Lee, I appreciate you checking folks in tonight. You know, we're continuing to grow each and every week, you know, getting people to move over to the new technology, and you do such a great job, and looking forward to seeing you in Dallas, Texas, which I'll be seeing a lot of folks in Dallas, Texas here in just 21 days, as you can see on the screen right here. And welcome, Legal Shield Associates, to our Wednesday night training call. My name's Timmer Halligan, for those that don't know me, and I make my home in Chicago, Illinois. And as I said, this is my 15th year in Legal Shield. And so the first part of our call tonight is for the brand new associate. But every time I do this call, I think about how important it is for every single associate, because getting associates started right is the key to building a great business, a business that's built on a solid foundation. So I want to say, number one, welcome to all the brand new associates. We're going to talk tonight about what it's going to take to help you to get leveled up. And that means to get your first promotion with Legal Shield. And so I'm going to bring you to a place right now where we're trying to make it really, really easy when people first start with Legal Shield, so they know where it is to go, and all the different resources are in one place for us new associates to be able to go to. So you're going to go over to begintheascent.com, and when you get here, you're going to see access to all of the things that you need to know in Legal Shield. You know, number one is this website right here. It says Shield Nation. We are part of Shield Nation. John and Darcy Hoffman are our Platinum Executive Directors, Platinum Council members, on the verge of hitting $800,000 per year with our company. Tremendous, tremendous leaders, you know, with 20 plus years of experience. You're going to see right here, as we talk more about getting started, this calendar right here. When you click this calendar, will show you all of the different events all across the United States and Canada. So for example, if I'm speaking to a brand new associate, you know, that lives, let's say, over in the state of, we'll just say Arizona, guess what? You click that button, it's going to show you where everything is in the state of Arizona. So we make it real easy, so you don't have to really remember where to go except for this one place. This will also bring you over to our social media page, and this training tonight, after we finish, will be posted over here on this YouTube channel. So you've got resources to be able to get to everywhere that you need to go. But the only place you need to worry about getting to right now is getting over to our Getting Started section, because we want to help you to get leveled up. We want to help you to get paid. We want to help you to get promoted. And as you can see right here, it says, congratulations on joining Legal Shield and Shield Nation. It talks about who we are, what it is that we do. You heard us start with our signature message tonight. You know, as a team, we've got a mission to get to 2 million members with Legal Shield, and we've been, you know, frantically, or not frantically, focused and driven to get that done, and continue to work hard on that. So you'll hear more about that. But when the first thing that we want to help you do when you join Legal Shield is get you leveled up. We want to help you to get yourself 3 memberships and 1 associate. You see where it says it right here. You get 3 memberships and 1 associate, you're going to earn your $180 bonus for getting that done. Your sponsor also has the opportunity to get a matching bonus, so they are vested in working with you, and that's why you want to come here to this site with them. And when you click this button right here, you click this button, it's going to take you right to the Legal Shield Getting Started page. You're going to see my good friend, another Platinum Council member, Mr. Darnell Self. He's going to walk you through this first video right here. And this first video is going to welcome you to Legal Shield. It's going to talk to you about some of the challenges that you'll face. It's going to talk about some of the things you want to do to get yourself started. And that first video right there is then going to have you go to a second video and a third video. And those videos are about 6 minutes in length. And there's a couple things that you'll print off as you're going through. And what I've done is, make it really, really easy for you to get that done, because when you go over here and you come right to this page right here, you're going to see where it says New Associate Welcome Packet. You're going to go ahead and just click on that. And this is the packet that's got everything put together in one place. So you don't even have to go and find it and put it together. I've put it together for you in one place. And this first step guide is going to talk about how you get started with Legal Shield. Number 1, it says get yourself started. Enroll as a member, enroll as an ID Shield member, enroll as an associate. You've already done that. Check that off. Step 1. Step 2, get connected, use your membership. Get ready to enroll members. Understand how to get to your website. You created a login. It's that login.wearelegalshield.com or that login.ladiesofjustice.com. If you're part of that initiative, check them both out. They're really fantastic. That's where your members are going to enroll. It says download the apps, your Legal Shield, your ID Shield, and your Prospect by Legal Shield. Those are 3 things you got to have to build your business. Really, really simple to do. Just download them at your app store. Join our Facebook groups. Those are the official Legal Shield ones, the Legal Shield Associate Success and Legal Shield Associate Support. Use your member perks, right? When you get your app downloaded, member perks are a program that we've got that will help you save money on everyday things that you do. It's going to help your members save money on everyday things they do. Then it says make your list. It says use the memory jogger to create a list of prospects to share. So what you're going to do now is show you where this is. You come on down, there's your memory jogger. The memory jogger is built right in. It's right there, and it's asking you questions like, who do you know that's in accounting, acting, advertising, aerobics, Air Force, on and on and on and on and on. And then we've added this sheet right here where you just go ahead. This is right from our Shield Nation website, which tells us, shows us how we can go ahead and start creating our list. This is called our top prospect list. And with this list, you're going to go ahead and enter in the names of the people that are on your list, because once we get them on this list, we answer these simple little questions, a little bit more about who they are. Then what we're going to start to do, guys, is we're going to get back up to this first step, and we're going to get people to start to invite to look at information. You got your list. You looked at the memory jogger. Now we're going to invite them. What are we going to invite them to do? We're going to invite them to look at a video. We're going to invite them to look at a Zoom presentation. Listen, as a team, we do these Zoom presentations for your guests every single day of the week. You actually just go to that calendar that I showed you on the home page and just, LegalShieldCalendar.com, click in, write in /success partners, and you'll have a list of all of the team calls that we do. In fact, I'm going to add that to this team site right now, so it's one easy place for you to go. Again, we want to make it simple. We invite people to come over to our house, to our place of business. We do what's called a private business reception. We get a bunch of people on a phone call. Listen, we text them and say, hey, listen, can you jump on this phone call, listen in to what it is that I'm doing right now. We'll help you do that. You just got to get the list going. And it talks about live events. Live events are what you're going to find on the calendar. That's where you can invite people to come out in your town, in your city, in your area, to be able to meet people live because when you meet them live, they get to see the presentation. They realize now they're truly not in business by themselves. There's a lot of people that are there to help them out. And then it says third party. Third party is about, guys, use your support team to help to speak with your prospects. Once they've seen some information, been in front of some information, now you want to bring in your support team to help, because we're going to help you get 3 memberships and 1 associate. And we're going to work to get that done, guys, in the first 20 days. And when we do that, we're going to be able to help you get leveled up. That's going to get 3 memberships. That's going to be 1 associate. And we're going to help you get paid. We're going to help you get promoted. And that's going to help move you up to that senior associate position. Get that $180 bonus. Get your commissions to now be able to double. So you go from that associate level to the senior associate level. And guys, that is really as simple as it is with your Legal Shield business. And so again, just go with your sponsor over to our team website here. Once you get to the team website, get to the getting started section. You don't need to go right now any further than right here. Then once we get you leveled up, once we get you moving to the next level, we're going to visit shieldnation.com with you. We're going to show you some incredible trainings that'll really help you to build a solid foundation for your business. But for right now, our #1 goal, keep it simple, help you to get paid, help you to get promoted. And I just want to say congratulations to all the brand new associates that are on. And now I get the opportunity for the second part of our call tonight. We got a very, very special guest, and I am super excited to introduce this gentleman. I had the opportunity to meet him many, many years ago. I believe we first met on one of the trips, one of the Legal Shield trips, and we started to hang out a little bit, become friends, and then he became the network vice president here in the state of Illinois, and really got to pick his brain. And let me tell you, it helped me move my business. And then in 2000, I believe it was 11, I was at the international convention in Dallas. That's why I'm so excited to be back in Dallas. And this gentleman was on stage, and I was at the convention with my beautiful wife, Amy, and he was talking about, building your business out of Dallas in 90 days. And it was 2011. I said, you know what, I'm going to do that. And I did exactly everything this guy said. And I have been executive director every month since that convention in 2011. He's my very, very good friend. He's a Platinum Council member, $600,000 income earner. He's the author of a book right now that is just tearing it up. It's called 30 Days in 30 Ways. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's an awesome man. He's part of the Melia family. That is Mr. Steve Melia. Are you there, buddy?
I sure am, Timmer. How you doing tonight?
I am awesome, brother. You're looking great, dude.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that warm introduction. I certainly appreciate it. And it's great to visit with the team. That was a great getting started. I mean, I'm looking at stuff and go, man, our team needs to step it up a little bit because you guys certainly have it going on. And I love, as you said, these Zoom calls because it really gives us a chance to personalize things a little bit more. And I just love being able to see everybody's different expressions and whatnot while we're on these Zoom calls. We do these as part of the Platinum World Council now. We do Zoom calls every week as well. So it's great to be able to communicate this way. I sort of feel like when we were growing up, the Jetsons, way back, it looked like a thing of the future. And now not so much anymore. But welcome to all of the associates. I've been with Legal Shield, for those of you that don't know my story, for just over 20 years. And the 4 years before I was with Legal Shield, I was full-time in the network marketing industry with another company that didn't last. It was a company that I had high hopes for. It was a company that I put everything into. It was a company where I sort of learned all the nuts and bolts of how to be successful in direct sales and network marketing, everything from how to prospect, how to do a presentation, three-way phone calls, everything that it really takes to be successful. And so when we came over, and I say we, my brother Mike and I came over and joined Legal Shield 20 years ago, we had a little bit of experience. We had 4 years under our belt. We had, a little bit of a team. We sort of knew what to do and how to do it. So when we got started with Legal Shield, based on that sort of 4 years of experience, we made over $68,000 our first 3 months of the company, over $250,000 our first year. And I tell you, man, the more they paid us, the harder we worked, and the harder we worked, the more that they paid us. And we had never really felt like we had an opportunity to ever earn this kind or that kind of income before. And this was the first time we could really taste it. So we certainly took advantage of it. And, sort of to take a step back is, during that time, during those 4 years, we lived with our older sister in West Orange, New Jersey. My brother had just separated from his marriage, and I was just out of college. I was one of those boomerang students where I literally went back and moved back in with my older sister after college because I had a really hard time just making ends meet and finding a job and whatnot. So I was able to go up there and take advantage of really a nice relative sort of opened up their doors for me, but really made me reflect on what was important. And, never went out and the only real job I've ever had is I had a job for about 6 months out of college and realized that it wasn't for me. And so when we were hit with sort of the struggle of an entrepreneur that it takes those first, several years, I realized right away that I didn't want to go back to having a job and having someone else feel like they control just about every aspect of my life. So I was really willing to go out there and to do whatever it took to be successful here within this company. And so 4 things that I want to cover here as we go in to the training. And first of all is getting your day started right. I think the most important thing that we can do as entrepreneurs is control our own attitude. There's not so many things that we can control, but to go out and control our own attitude. And how do you do that? An attitude is something that we cultivate, that it doesn't just come to us and we get it one time. So, in my book, as you mentioned, 30 Ways in 30 Days, that whole first chapter is dedicated to that. And so if anyone's ever seen my presentation or me do a Super Saturday, sort of my book, 30 Ways in 30 Days, is really just my Super Saturday in print. A lot of the same ideas that I have, but literally starting off with that. And, several years ago, I was listening to a Brian Tracy audio cassette while I was at the gym. And, Brian Tracy was talking about writing his goals down every day. And I heard other speakers talk about it, but I never went out there and really exercised and did. I had to-do lists. Sometimes I felt like I was getting the best out of my day sometimes, but I didn't really have a regimen for literally getting my day started right. Like if you see a basketball team or a football team or a tennis, a tennis player, Timmer, like you, I'm sure you have pre-game rituals, and there's certain things that you do to best prepare yourself physically and mentally for a game or for a match. And it's the same thing as an entrepreneur, that, there's an old saying, I think I actually made it up when I was coaching basketball, that the scoreboard can affect your attitude, or your attitude can affect your scoreboard. In other words, we can start today from inside out, or we can let the rest of the world affect us from the outside in. And so what I decided to do is just sort of come up with my own program for getting my day started right, so I could be more motivated, so I could be there and have a more productive day. And so I started doing these several things, and I tweaked it a little bit, but there's, I recently read in another book, the 5 keys to being happy in the morning. And it's sort of it was almost the same thing, find 3 things that you're grateful for, do 1 random act of kindness a day, write a letter to somebody that's maybe inspired you, exercise for 15 minutes a day, meditate, and, start the day by journaling, just for a few minutes about the last 24 hours and what that meant to you. So, my 4 steps are pretty simple. I write down 10 or 15 goals every day. I write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. I write down 3 to 5 things that I did over the last 24 hours, and then I do my affirmations, right? But whatever your way of launching the day is, Timmer, I know that you have your call that you do bright and early every morning, and I think that's great. That really gives people a shot in the arm. It gives them some focus for the day. It gets them out of bed, and it gets them going. I think if people just got out of bed 20, 30, 45 minutes earlier every day, they could be way more productive, especially if they invested that time into self-development. And that's really a story of myself and the Melia family over the last 25 years, is we've spent a lot of time doing self-development, personal development, whatever you want to call it, listening to the audios and reading the books, improving our associations on a regular basis. So my first tip for everybody would be to get the most out of the day. And if you've seen me speak recently, you know that the opposite of that is also something that you have to eliminate. And that is getting your day started right or getting your day started wrong with social media, TV, radio, newspaper. And I know a lot of people on this have already sort of broken that cycle. But for the newer people maybe that haven't, I'm going to tell you, sometimes you don't think it makes a difference, but it does. Everything matters. And, you know, when we wake up in the morning, it's like I said, there's a big green button and a big red button. And green represents everything that you want, you know, all the success, the health, the happiness, your finances, your dream car, the vacations, your dream business, everything that you want. And the red arrow is what you don't want. It's more of some of the past and what you're worrying about and your bills. And so we have the choice in the morning to focus on what we want or focus on what we don't want by getting the day started right. And if you're putting the TV on in the background, I'm telling you, it's hard to turn that TV on for 5 minutes and not just be negative. You know, a lot of times, as you probably do, Timmer, I stay in a lot of hotels, and sometimes they have those continental breakfasts downstairs, or I'll just go downstairs to get a coffee, and they have those TVs blaring in the background and it says Good Morning America, but there's nothing good about their morning that they're helping share with us. And so you got to make sure that you start your day with a positive, you know, with positives. It's such an important thing to be able to do. So that's number one. So turn off the social media. Don't do any of those things until you do those core 4 that I talk about. Second thing, Timmer, and people have heard this before, but it's something that you got to really constantly monitor, and that's your associations. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you listening to? And for new people, sometimes that's easy, because if we haven't been thinking about this or haven't been working on it, it's pretty easy to spot the negative people. It's like, oh, this person, that person, definitely. And so I challenge everybody listening to make a list of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with, or I ask you, who are the 5 individuals on this planet right now that influence your thinking the most? You know, I think for some of you, it might be Jim Rohn, because you listen to so much Jim Rohn. If you listen to more than 15 to 20 minutes of Jim Rohn a day, it's probably more than you listen to. Maybe you got a coworker in there, maybe you got your spouse, and you got to make sure that you're hanging out with supportive people. Life's too short to be hanging out with people that are going to steal your dreams, are going to be able to tell you that you can't do something. So you want to make sure that the people that you're hanging out with is conducive for success, but so is that environment, your work environment. Like, where do you do your Legal Shield business? Do you do your Legal Shield business, you know, in your office, you know, where do you have positive sayings around and that kind of thing, that you get to determine, you know, the environment that you're going to be working in every day with your Legal Shield business. Okay. The third thing that I'll talk about is a philosophy. And, you know, I recently restarted reading this book called The Slight Edge. And, you know, the gentleman that wrote it, he had been a mentor of mine for many years in this industry. He went off and started his own company, but it certainly doesn't diminish the ideas, these powerful ideas that are in this book, The Slight Edge. So I recently started reading it again, because I train on, I talk about it. I actually did a whole chapter in my book, 30 Ways, about the Slight Edge. That was one of the ways. But, you know, it's been so long since I read it that I felt like someone had snuck in my home, had stolen the book, had rewritten it and put it back in, because I'm a different person than where I was a few years ago. The ideas in there are different to me. And so I wouldn't really do justice. I will talk about a Slight Edge for a minute or two, but I really can't do justice in what the book talks about. It's, you know, almost 300 pages of, in my opinion, just exactly what it takes to be successful in life. And it's the little things that you do that don't seem to make a little different, or a big difference at all in the act of doing them, but it's the compounded effect over time. And a couple of stories that they use in those book are the penny doubled. I think we've all heard the story of, hey, would you take $1 million, or the penny doubled? And until you really see that penny doubling about day 28, 29, 30, most of us will still take the $1 million right up front. And that's what people do in life, is they take the $1 million up front, and they're not willing to sacrifice the tiny little things every day that seem to make no difference at all in the act of doing them, but the compounded effect over time. You know, exercise is a great example. Eating nutritiously, you know, good. You know, making sure that you're not eating fatty foods and all the stuff that it takes. It's easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. And so, you know, only 5% of people are really what you call successful, are happy with all the different areas of their life, are able at, you know, age 65 to rely on their own finance, to be financially free. It's 95% of people are going off track. So there's not too many people out there that are really a great example. And so what the Slight Edge says, it's like, what are the little things? Like in Legal Shield, what are the little things? Well, getting your day started right is certainly a Slight Edge thing. Talking to 2 people a day. I'll ask you a couple questions. Is it easy to talk to 2 people a day? If the definition of easy is something that you can do, well, sure that it's easy, right? But it's also easy what? It's also easy not to do. You know, when you're looking at 2 a day, is it something that you can do? Is it convenient? Not always convenient, right? In fact, it takes a commitment to do that. The word commitment meaning doing the things that you said you would do long after the feeling or spirit in which you had said it with. So being the difference in the slight edge, it's just a little different. You don't notice it every single day, but the person that's committed, they go to the meeting, they're inviting people, they're watching the Monday night shows, they're plugged in, they're on the Wednesday training calls, and you want to continually just build a team of people when you're building our business that are on the slight edge. And again, not everybody that joins your team is going to do all the basics, but if you get enough people doing it, what if you got enough people doing their 2 a day? What if you get enough people going to the meeting? What if you get enough people going to the Dallas convention? So again, the slight edge is so powerful. And people, the top 5% of people that go on to have success, one of the key points, not only in the book, but of that whole philosophy, is that they take full responsibility for where they are in their life. They know that when they fail, it's because they didn't put in the effort, or maybe they're just newer in it, but they're not blaming it on that they weren't born in the right neighborhood. They're not blaming it on the government. They're not blaming it on their upline or their downline or their sideline. So many times I get calls, I'm sure like you do, Timmer, where, people say that they're not happy with maybe who they're working with in Legal Shield or the team that they're on, and they'll come to me and they say, hey, and I say, hey, listen, it's not going to be any better on the Melia team than it is over where you are. I mean, the help that you see us give one person is really the help that we'll give everybody. Yeah, you might get a little bit more with a sponsor, but the reality is we have to take personal responsibility. The same gentleman that wanted to talk to us about, switching teams or whatever a couple of days ago, and I said no. I said, there was a Super Saturday about an hour from you that I drove from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando to. Did you know about that? Oh, well, I did. I said, Darnell Self was going to be speaking there. And so it's interesting that, people are looking for an answer outside of themselves, when it's what Brian Tracy says, whatever successful coach says, that if it's to be, it's up to me. I'll take personal responsibility, the good, bad, the ugly, for where I am. Sort of like you did. You didn't get off to the start that you wanted in Legal Shield. You were producing personally, but at some point you realized, maybe I'm not doing the right things. Maybe I do need to listen more to what they're saying. Maybe I do need, just like in your business as a tennis coach, maybe I do need to get coached and plug in, and you were able to go out there and do that and get the coaching that you want. So the slight edge is taking full responsibility for where you are. The slight edge is doing the uncomfortable acts now so you can be comfortable later. It's to do what's inconvenient now. Like, no one ever quotes a successful person and say, the definition of convenience, because convenience doesn't get you to success. The difference between a professional and an amateur is an amateur works when they feel like it. They go to the meeting when they feel like it. They talk about Legal Shield when they feel like it. Well, guess what? You're not going to feel like it that much. I don't feel like it that much until I start doing it, right? One of the great speakers that we've had in Legal Shield over the last few years is Mel Robbins, right? I love when Mel Robbins talked about the 5-second rule, and when there's something that you don't feel like doing, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like a rocket ship blasting off, and pick up that phone and make that phone call, okay? So figuring it out, doing, successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. We make thousands of decisions, if not a day, per week, all either going towards our goal or going away from our goal. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is have clear written goals and a clear vision, right? That's what I talk about in getting your day started right. But after that, once you have that clear vision in, everything that's coming your way, should I go to the, if one of your goals is to be in the best physical shape of your life, and you wake up and you go, well, should I go to the gym today or should I not? You're going to the gym, right? My goal is to be the #1 income earner in Legal Shield. Should I prospect somebody? Oh, you better prospect a lot of people if you want to be the #1 income earner. So set a big goal and then back it up with the slight edge and do what it takes. And back to the, the penny example, for the first couple of days, it doesn't look like much, but all of a sudden it's compounding and it's compounding and it's compounding. And then you show up at a major event with over 100 people and people go, whoa, how did you do it? I've been doing it a while, right? You should have seen me in my first convention. It was me and one other guy. Then the next convention, there were 4 of us. And then the next convention, there were 8 of us. And that's how it works. And that's what you got to believe in. You got to have the faith, the belief, the vision to say that what I'm doing matters. And that's why with the penny double example, and also an example, the water hyacinth, where it's growing and it's growing, but the first few days, the first few weeks, you don't see anything. It's the same thing with our business. Your friends are asking you, hey, how you doing with that legal thing? You're rich yet? You go to a meeting and maybe your guest doesn't show up. It can be frustrating, but what you don't see is all the inner work that you've been doing, all the experience, all the knowledge that you've been gaining, where you really are moving along on the slight edge in the right way. So I always like to talk about the slight edge, but I just feel like the more I talk about it, there's so many more nuances to it. So again, If you guys haven't had it as your book of the month, The Slight Edge, I certainly recommend that everybody gets their hands on it and devour it like I'm doing right now. And then the fourth point I wanted to make too is to be grateful and reach out to those around you, on a regular basis, people that have helped you. In my book, 30 Ways in 30 Days, the chapter 4 is called Let It Go and Go Grow. And there's two exercises that I ask people to do. Number one is to make a list and to thank people, even on social media, to make a video and say, I want to thank, going back to my, my first job at Publix grocery stores. I want to thank my manager, Mr. Gilmore, and all the people that have made a difference in our lives. Because there's certainly been a lot of people, and it does two things. Number one, when you appreciate other people, just like in real estate, when you appreciate somebody, what does that mean? It means their value goes up. So appreciate other people because they really like it. I got a letter in the mail from Patrick Shaw. Geez, it must be 12, 13 years ago now. And Patrick and I have been friends for, almost 20, I guess about 25 years. I've known Patrick. I met him in my first company. And he sent me a handwritten note about 12 or 13 years ago. And every time I move, I bring it with me. And it was just a really nice thing, how I made a difference in his life when we first met. He appreciated it. And I thought, wow, really nice. And here I am 12 years later talking about it. And still, I think we've all heard the saying too, is that people won't remember so much what you say as they'll remember how you make them feel. And Timmer, you're certainly great at that. Whether someone's part of your Legal Shield team or you meet somebody at a networking event or we're at a concert listening to music or we're at a sporting event, you always bring out the best in people. And I think that's probably why, one of the reasons you're a great leader. But the other side of that on number 4 is let it go and go grow, is to get rid of your, if you've got a grudge against somebody, maybe you're upset about somebody because they did something to you or they didn't say your name on a conference call or whatever it is. I mean, we all have a few people that we think have it out for us or were mean to us, or maybe they did something that really isn't cool and isn't right. But holding it against them and having a grudge is certainly not going to help you or help the situation. I was at a Tony Robbins seminar a couple years ago, and he really talked about this and even role played what to say and when you call people. So I recommend that you do that. If you've got a grudge, just write it down right now. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When the person answers or when you get their voicemail, say whatever you want to say. Don't worry about taking who's assigning blame or anything in a situation like that. But just stand up and say, listen, I've been thinking about what had happened. I feel awful that we're not as close as we used to be. I'm embarrassed how I handled the situation. If we could move on from it, man, I'd be eternally grateful or something like that. Or I just want to see if we could bury the hatchet, whatever it is. And I'm telling you, just by making that phone call, you'll feel great. Okay. And so those are just a few tips that I had, because baggage weighs a lot and it's heavy to carry around, and it's just so much more freeing and so much more liberating to just deal with stuff as they come up. And I find that the more successful somebody is, the more that they deal with things quickly. When they have an idea, they act on it. If they got a situation they got to deal with, they do it. If they've got a tough conversation they got to have with another associate or coworker, they make it, and they don't let things drag on and become worse over time. And so those are just a few tips, Timmer, that I wanted to share tonight. I will end up by saying that we are very, very excited. When I said we, the Platinum World Council, on things that are going to be happening at your convention here in Dallas, Texas. As many of you know, last year I took the year off for the most part. I took 6 months off to follow dream number 2 of mine, to see the Yankees play every game again. And I guess I'm just sort of an overachiever sometimes. I did it once, but no one had ever done it twice. So I knocked that out twice. But I'm back. I'm fresh. I'm excited. Sometimes we need to step away for a little bit to realize how great of a business that we have and how much freedom that allows us to do the things that we love. So can't wait to see everybody in Dallas. There will be some big announcements. I will say this, that if you've been in the business for more than a minute and you see that you could be a senior director above, you will thank me in Dallas when they announce the bonuses that are going to be taking place on April 1st. So my secret to you is get to senior director if at all possible. If you can get to executive director, even better. So Timmer, appreciate you and your friendship. Continued success to you and the whole team, and I'll throw it back to you.
Awesome. Well, you guys, if you have not seen Steve's book, I mean, let me tell you, it's tremendous. Steve, I sent over to, my daughter's been reading your book and, putting together, blurbs of it, and I got to send it over to you. I mean, my wife's reading the book. I've read the book, and, everything that you talked about today, you can take and apply it in every area of your life. And specifically when you take a look at your Legal Shield business, how can you get your day started the right way? And then you can encompass all the other things. Steve, real quick, what, you got some people right now that may say, you know what, I don't think I can make it to Dallas. It's not the right time of the year for me, or, I'll get there next year when maybe funds are better. What do you say to that? What do you say to that person? I can remember way back in the day, man, where, it was tough to get there, and, I'm sure you maybe packed up the Geo Metro a few times way back in the day and you found a way to get there. What do you say? How important is it?
Yeah, so there was one time, Timmer, we drove through a snowstorm from New York to Chicago, where our team event was years ago. And I tell you, if we weren't at that event, I don't think we'd be in the business. And, our very first event in network marketing was about a month in. And we had decided, Mike and I, that we were not going. We even told our team, we got other things going on. We're going to stay back and work. And then one day we were watching like a team, like a company broadcast on the satellite network, and people were over somebody's house watching it. And one guy, this guy Daryl, I'll never forget, he's like, I'm going to Dallas. And he was like a Dallas Cowboy fan, so I almost discounted him. I was like, he just wants to go to Dallas. And then my brother-in-law, who I recruited, said, yeah, I'm going to go to Dallas too. So now I got two guys on my team going to Dallas. And then another woman, like 3 or 4 more other people, like, yeah, let's see what we can do. They start looking up flights. And my brother and I are driving up the Geo Metro back home to New Jersey, where we were living in my sister's house. And we're like, what do you think? We're like, so we got home, we found flights, and you know what? We made it happen. And I don't know what I'd be doing for a living right now, Timmer, but I certainly wouldn't be a 3-time author. I wouldn't be a part-time comedian. I wouldn't have made millions in this industry if I didn't go to that first convention. So the first thing I would say to people is it's usually a financial decision, right? It's usually like, man, funds are tight or something. Everything else can sort of be overcome, but the financial decision. And I promise you, on Monday, whatever that date is, Monday, April 1st or 2nd, when we all come back, your financial situation will not have improved, okay? It will not have improved. If anything, now you're there and you won't, and everyone else is going to be more excited, and now you're going to feel even more bleak, quite frankly, than where you are today. So I would say that jump in the net will appear. Let's figure it out. I'm certainly not saying do anything irresponsible, but come on, guys, really. Do you think that if you wanted to sell 4 or 5 extra memberships or any memberships or more memberships that you do over the next 5 weeks that we can't knock this out? I know if somebody said, Timmer, I'm really tight. Is there anybody that could share a room? I'm sure they would find a spot, or an Airbnb. Hey, we're living in Illinois. Can you drive to Dallas? I don't recommend it, but you can, or whatever it is. I know there's a lot of airlines you can get. I found a flight last week. I hadn't got my flight yet. I got a flight for $137, right? And that's on Spirit, so I'm sure that's going to cost me a lot more than that. But at least that was the base price. And we got to figure it out. But going would be a grave mistake. And I know that if I don't get somebody new to a big event in those first 3 or 4 months, that they probably, statistically, they will not last. They won't even be around next year. It's not about next year. You won't be in the business, right? Because what that builds is it builds your belief to help you sustain the hard times and the no's and stuff like that. And if you don't have that belief built up, the first win will knock you down, unfortunately. And so just take our advice and come to Dallas. It's going to be a blast.
And I know that you guys are going to have the Melia Platinum Council party on Saturday night. Is that right?
You know it. Must be 21 to enter.
Well, listen, Steve, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the Melia family. Again, if you haven't read, Steve's book, definitely do that. And, the Melia family also, they've got the Work, Play, Love Foundation, which is a tremendous organization. It's an orphanage over in Guatemala. I'm proud to sponsor as one of the Hoger Heroes every month. So go check out workplaylove.org and see what they've got going on to help people out. Steve, I appreciate you, man. I will see you in a couple weeks, and hopefully we'll catch some music together here this summer, man.
Sounds great, buddy. Have a great one, team.
All righty. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining our Wednesday evening team training call. What a tremendous, tremendous call tonight. We'll have the recording up here very, very soon. Make sure you get it over to your team. Everybody have a fantastic evening, and bye-bye for now.